What's going on, everybody? All right. Today, I am excited to share and talk about this video topic. All right. We are talking about today why don't spiritual people attract spiritual relationships? I don't know if y'all out there in the YouTube world have seen, experienced, observed how people who are more into spirituality are not attracting, and I don't want to project, but I'm bringing awareness to what I also have experienced, not attracting a lot of spiritual partners. Okay. We're kind of attracting people who are kind of in it, but not really, right? They're kind of like into it, but not really. And we're not really having spiritual led relationships. All right. So this video is for people who may have a curiosity of why you're not experiencing spiritual led relationships or more spiritually fulfilling relationships, right? And I just want to boom, you know what I'm saying, hit everybody with this realization that I had, okay, and some more research that I've discovered. Okay. So let's get into the video, all right? Let's get into this video because I'm excited to share it. All right. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. Okay. Why spiritual people don't attract spiritual relationships. I want you guys to really take this into perspective. When you're dating someone, always have an intention. Why are you connecting with this person? Are you connecting with this person to expand your, let's say, pleasure, your external world, material world, or you're connecting to this person for transformation, for evolution, for expansion? Okay. So I have my handy dandy notebook right here. So I'm looking at my notes. The first thing I want you guys to take into perspective when you are dating someone is observe or ask, is this person, does this person value spiritual led, or I want to say this, is this person into spiritual evolution and transformation, or is this person into more of a basic ego, um physical expansion, uh pursuit? So in other words, you want your partner, is your partner spiritual led or ego led, basically? I don't know why that was so hard for me to say that shit. Is your partner spiritual led or ego led? This will determine what kind of relationship you have. This will determine if you have a spiritual relationship that you're cultivating or not. So let's talk about it. Okay. So, what is an ego led relationship? These are some things I'm going to name that you can bring to your awareness so you'll know that you're in an ego led relationship. An ego led relationships looks like the person is all about the expansion of the physical. It's all about the external. It's all about the basics of, getting a house, buying a car, making babies, going on vacations, right? It's the basic human lifestyle. Going to work, working a 9 to 5, coming home, playing dad, playing mom, right? Um, it's all about the biological need of survival: food, water, sex, and shelter. That's an ego led relationship. I want to place emphasis on this type of relationship. When you're in this type of relationship, there is not a lot of internal work that takes place. It's more so of survival, it's more so of bringing your awareness outward. So you're not focused on what's going on inward. That is so important. If you're having this type of relationship and say you're with a partner who's more focused on external, don't get mad when you ask them to change something about themselves and they struggle with making those changes, or they struggle with trying to understand where you're coming from, because they're not operating from a spiritual led relationship. They're operating from an ego led relationship. Okay. So that's the first, side of it. The second side of it, right? A spiritual led relationship. What is a spiritual led relationship? What I'm realizing is spiritual led relationships is what we all want to have. Spiritual led relationships is expansion inward. It's about expanding the soul, expanding the spirit. It's about you doing the healing work, the inner work. These are two people coming together looking to do some inner work together. Okay. It's about elevating one another. It's all about ascension, right? It's all about, perhaps even supporting humanity together. Y'all come together and y'all have a bigger cause, bigger than what y'all two have going on in terms of what the ego needs. It's bigger than that. You guys come together to also support others. You start to see that your relationship is also a tool for helping other people transcend. All right. Um, and so this is important when I'm sharing. Spiritual led relationships is actually what I find that creates the most fulfillment. The reason why ego led relationships fail, which is traditional relationships, which is what we've been taught coming up as children, this is the type of relationship you need to have, right? Is most of us are seeking relationships for happiness, for joy, for love, for deep fulfillment, maybe even for trying to not be alone. We have a lot of reasons for why we want to be in relationships. But if you're trying to get into a relationship that deals with expansion of external, right, then you're going to always have a failed relationship. The reason why I say that, because in an ego-led relationship, both parties are not willing to do any type of inner work. And if both partners are not, or let's say this, let's do this better yet. One person is willing to do inner work and the other person is not. And so if the other person is not willing to do any type of inner work, they will sabotage the relationship. The thing about traditional relationships is that everyone's so focused on happiness. Relationships is not about happiness. Relationships are about transformation. Relationships are a healing tool for you to understand more about yourself so you can elevate beyond your ego, your dysfunctional habits, and your dysfunctional behaviors. Most people don't utilize it as a tool, they utilize it as a coping mechanism. Most people utilize it as pleasure and joy and sex. So they use it as a very superficial way of having an experience as a human. This is why it fails, because ego-led relationships, they don't pay attention to what can happen behind the scenes. If you ever notice, the majority of times why relationships fail is because one or both partners are not aware of the shadows, they're not aware of dysfunctional habits, their toxic traits, and they're not willing to go inward to try to work on that together. So the relationship fails. So the baseline of an ego relationship is, yes, you're going to experience happiness, you're going to experience joy, you're going to experience bliss. That's by default. That is not a goal to try to achieve. You should not get into a relationship trying to cultivate happiness with someone. That should already come with the relationship. That's like second nature. What you should be going into the relationship with is the intention of, I'm looking to evolve with this person. I'm looking to transform with this person. I'm looking for triggers to come up within this relationship that I haven't healed from, and they can able to support me in that. What does that look like? And so what I also realize about ego-led relationships is that it's also failed because if the man, all right, let me talk to the brothers right quick, to the brothers. If the man has not dealt with himself internally, he will sabotage the relationship. If he's not interested in involving internally, if he's more so focused on external, he will sabotage a relationship. And often that's what happens, because a lot of women eventually ask for more. And that's when the man cannot give more because his focus is still external, it's not internal. And a lot of men don't know how to navigate internally. So the relationship is sabotaged. So I say all that to say, spiritual led relationships, soul led relationships, relationships that involves expansion of the soul, this where two parties come together and they actually do inner work together. They actually try to transform together, right? And through that transformation, they actually become more closer. The intimacy is actually built more deeper, because now you're sharing your deepest traumas and emotions with each other, and y'all both are holding space for each other. That changes the emotional connection and dynamic between one another. Both people are holding a safe space for both people to do the inner work for themselves. It's not about you trying to, you know, become a therapist for your partner. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're going to bring out things in your relationship, or your partner going to bring out things inside of you in that relationship that can only happen if you're in a relationship. If you notice, when you're not in a relationship and you're by yourself, you're doing all this inner work, you're going to all the retreats, you're taking all the certifications, you're reading all the books, you start to think that you have become enlightened. You start to think to yourself, you have made it. You get into a relationship, within the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, you already triggered. And now you don't know where the hell that's coming from. And you go back to question yourself, like, damn, why I did all this work. That's the whole thing about relationships. Relationships gets to the deepest parts of yourself, because the first trauma that we ever experienced in life was a relational trauma, which means the relationship that we have between our caregivers and our parents was a very traumatic one, because either we got abandoned, we got neglected, we got rejected from our parents. That creates a trauma inside of us. And so also with the upbringing, everything that we experience in our uh, connection between our parents influences our uh, future relationships. So the foundation with our parents creates the future connections with other people and other relationships. So with that being said, if you have a relationship that's more spirit led, that's all about the evolution of the soul going inward, right? This where deep healing could take place. And so I noticed that why spiritual people don't attract spiritual relationships is because they may not have this mindset or the intention that I'm seeking only for spiritual led partners, people who are also willing to do the inner work. That's really the gist of it. Asking the right questions to see what kind of partner do you have. Don't get mad, don't start barking when you see that this person is not who you want, or not what you ask for, what you seek, which is more spiritual led. Okay? So, that's one part of it that I wanted to share. Let me flip my handy dandy notebook here. I want to talk about another part of this whole mystery of why spiritual people don't attract spiritual relationships, right? I want to talk about I want to address and talk about the societal belief, the traditional belief of some women still advocating for men to be the protector and the provider. Granted, this is what all men should have. This is a default trait. This is not something to rise and say this is the goal of my life, is to protect and provide. This should not be something that you put on a pedestal and say that I am looking to protect and provide. This is by default. You should already be doing this. And if you're not, cultivate it, but don't look at it like it's like the alpha and omega of evolution. It is a normal standard for a man to be able to provide and protect. A lot of women are still unconsciously asking for these particular traits in men. So what that does for the man is the man only focuses on these two characteristics, and this keeps him in his masculine energy. We have to understand we have masculine energy and feminine energy inside of us. The feminine energy deals with internal. The masculine energy deals with external. So men are not going to bring their awareness to the internal. They're going to always bring it to the external, because the societal belief or the mantra is, I want a man who can provide and protect. So a man only thinks masculine. He only thinks that's what I need to cultivate, because this is what women are saying they need. This is what makes a relationship a very successful relationship, etc., etc. I say this to say, ladies, queens, goddesses, okay, fairies, okay, whatever you want to identify with, start sharing that you want a man, and I know y'all doing this, so I'm not gonna knock it, but start sharing that you want emotionally aware man, you want an emotionally intelligent man, you want a man who's aware of their shadows and have done some shadow work, not just being aware of it, has been doing some shadow work. You want a man who is aware of their childhood trauma and has been doing some work to help heal their childhood trauma. Okay. You want someone who's aware of dysfunctional behaviors, their dysfunctional habits. They're aware of their projections. You want these type of qualities, these type of traits. And when you put out the request into the universe, right? You put that request out. Now this shifts the attraction that you're looking to have, because now you're not just asking for a man just to protect and provide. You're also looking for a man who also has done some type of inner healing work. All right. So this correlates to a spiritual led relationship. If you're always focusing on, I want a man to be the protector and provider, you're going to keep getting more ego led relationships or ego led attractions. You want a man to be holistically well rounded. You don't want a man to just be focused on protection and providing. You also want the internal aspects as well. So I want you guys to be mindful of that. Start saying to yourself, start reprogramming your societal beliefs and start saying, I want a more holistic man. I want a man who also is emotionally in tune with themselves, who have emotionally worked on themselves and not just intellectualize it. That is a huge shadow when it comes down to emotional intelligence. It's not about always just knowing how to cope with your emotions and knowing how to not respond and in the environments that is just not conducive to your well-being, like being at work or something and you don't want to go off on your coworker. I get that. That is emotional intelligence. We understand that. But you have to also understand how to emotional regulate and also understand how to emotionally release, right? Because a lot of things that a lot of men are experiencing is they don't know how to release, so they turn to maladaptive coping mechanisms, such as, let's say, smoking marijuana or playing video games all day or going out and having a bunch of sex with different women, turning to drugs, alcohol, you name it. That's not healing. That's coping. Two different things. So that's what you want. You want someone who is more in tune with their emotional side, their feminine side, right? And they have been doing some actual internal work. Internal work. Now, this applies for men too. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just all in favor of women. This is also for men too. But just to keep it 100, women are more internal based. Women are more focused on internal evolution. Men are more focused on external evolution. So we're gonna keep it a buck too at the same time. All right. The third thing I want to share with you guys: understand this. When you are seeking relationships, when you have a deep desire to be in a relationship with someone, what you are really saying is you have a deep desire to have a relationship with yourself. So if you really have this strong yearning sensation, like I just want to be in a relationship so bad, that means you're trying to connect to a part of yourself. So for women, you're trying to connect to a man. That means you're trying to connect to the masculine energy inside of yourself. For a man, you're trying to connect to a woman. That means you're trying to connect to the feminine aspect within yourself. So when two people come together, it's about wholeness. It's about the yin and the yang coming together to become complete. The reason why relationships are so desirable and can be also very intoxicating and also could be very fulfilling and can also be very, damn near like a form of addiction, which is the shadow aspects to it, where people just love being in relationships, is because you feel a sense of completion. As we go throughout this whole entire journey, the name of this game is love and wholeness, getting back to the original self, going back home to the original self, going back to true source. And relationships creates that sense of wholeness of going back to home, going back to the true self. So it's like it starts like an atom, right? Like Adam and Eve, let's just say. It's like you were one as an atom, and then you got split, and then you became two atoms. Now, two atoms is still one atom, but now they're trying to figure out how to come back and together with one another. So we are all expressions of God. So there's the feminine energy that's present in his world, and then there's the masculine energy that's present in his world. They are completely separate from each other. But within these two energies that are completely separate within each other, they also have the feminine and the masculine in both of them. That's the law of gender. I'm sorry, I said gender. The law of gender that is present in both atoms. So we are always trying to seek a partner to fulfill us. This is the illusion. There's no one that can fulfill you. There's no one that can give you the most love that you can't give yourself. It's already inside of you. When you're in a relationship, what they actually give you is this false sense of wholeness and this false sense of love. Because, yes, you may experience love, but what they really did was activate something that was already inside of you. So instead of like discrediting and not honoring the fact that this love is inside of you, what we do is say, "Oh my God, I love you. Oh, don't leave. I want you." And "Oh, hug me. I just love the way you make me feel." And we give all our energy outside of ourselves and not really take into account that this person has activated something that was asleep inside of us. They activated the divine love that was inside of us because, like I said, relationships are tools. They activated that part of us, that energy that's inside of us, and we never say thank you, I appreciate that. Because if you do say that, or if you have that awareness, then the next question would be is, okay, how can I keep this energy flowing? How can I keep my heart open? How can I keep experiencing this divine love that's already inside of me? Right? So understand that when you're getting into a relationship, and especially if you're looking for a spiritual led relationship, spiritual led relationships with having a spiritual partner, um it takes you to the space of wholeness. But that space, that wholeness comes from you, because that's a whole. Let me repeat let me just complete my statement because I'm shifting too much. It takes you to a space of wholeness, and that wholeness, let's just say, can only be recognized when you have let go of all of the traumas, all of the shadows, all of the protective mechanisms, all the things that you're identifying with that have hurt you in the past, right? When you're in a relationship, your partner brings these things up so you can address them, so you can heal them, so you can let go of them, so you can see more of who you truly are. That takes a lot of awareness on both partners. But if both partners are intentional about why they're connecting and they have the intention that I am here to help you for your highest ascension, and I am here to help you for your highest ascension, both of y'all make this spiritual contract agreement, and both of y'all have the mindset that, yes, oh babe, example, oh babe, you said something, and it really triggered me. It brought me to my childhood, and I remember when my mom used to do that and my dad used to do that, and I just want to share that with you. You just triggered me. The man, right, don't respond with the, "Oh, what you want me to do about it?" or "Oh, okay," or "That's what's up." Like, that is ego led. Spiritual led is you holding space for her, asking her, "What do you need help with? What do you need support with? Is there anything I can do to support you in this space?" Holding the space. You ain't gotta try to heal her. You ain't gotta try to fix her. It's about asking her, what should she need? What are her needs? What do she need right now? She may say, "Oh, can you just, like, give me more reinsurance in this area of my life?" And that's okay. But we're not looking to completely transform them, because they still have to do the inner work for themselves. But when two people are together and they're dedicated to doing the inner work, do you not get the picture that I'm painting? That shit hot. That's some hot shit. It's sizzling. But when two people are just focused on the expansion of the ego, expansion of how can we get more property, how can we get more houses, how can we get more cars, how can we make more babies? Because that's another thing in the ego-led relationships. It just seems like people just fucking all day, unintentionally fucking, and now you got three baby daddies or three baby mamas, three baby dads and three whatever, three baby dads and three whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? Three kids, whatever. It's like, it's too much. And so I say that to say, be intentional of who and what you are connecting with. Be intentional about how you want to have this relationship moving forward. And I'm gonna close out. Relationships that are more spiritual led takes you to the truth of who you are. Ego led relationships take you to the truth of what you're not. And most people unconsciously, even people who are claiming that they're spiritual, I was one of them. I'm still just having this realization, so I'm shifting. I might say I want me a spiritual led relationship, but I'm still settling for what's in front of my face. So I'm switching that game up. Right. So, and that's just honesty. Right. And so I'm bringing this to y'all perspective, to y'all awareness as well. Do the same thing. Do the same thing. And you will start to have a shift. Right. So I'm going down the journey with y'all. All right. So we're going to see what's really good. We're going to see what's really good. Okay. I'm going to leave you off on that note. If this video resonated, you already know, drop a comment below. Let me know how you vibing. Let me know if you seeing what I'm seeing, feeling what I'm feeling, or you not feeling what I'm feeling. That's okay too. But I wanted to definitely highlight and lead y'all with this information because I had a friend of mine who asked me like, "Yo, like why spiritual people don't have spiritual relationships?" So my mind was like, "Yo, that's a great question." So I did some research. Okay, now this is my research. I'm going to actually build on this and really see more. So you're going to probably see some more videos come from this topic. Okay. So, all right. On that note, I'm going to let y'all go. You know what it is. Peace.